Vasudevaya Narayan Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaye Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Part 2, the Lord's Appearance, Adikanda, Chapter 2, text number 60. Nana deshe haite loka, Navadvipa jai, Navadvipe padile vidya rasupai. Many people came from various provinces to study Navadvip because they studying there one achieved a taste for education. So students interested in studying logic came from Mathila to Navadvip. So Mathil came all the way from there. Many sannyasis and qualified professors from Varanasi, North India, came to study Vedanta in Navadvip. Many students from Kanchi in South India also came to study in Navadvip. Therefore, student communities from various provinces came to Navadvip and got the opportunity to become expert scholars of various scriptures. Is the voice okay? He's saying it is too low.
Little lower, Prabhuji.
Okay,
बाकी लोग बताओ.
Hare Krishna.
it's okay, Prabhu.
I think you have to check your level. So students from all over India came to Navadvip to study Vedanta. From Kanchi in South India also they came to Navadvip. So Navadvip was a core center of education at that time. And that's also the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first played as Nimai Pandit the role of a scholar. To defeat or establish, first to defeat the scholars, other scholars, establish Krishna, and then telling everybody this is not sufficient. Bhakti is everything. To become a devotee is the topmost of all jnana, of all education. But Navadvip was the center of education at that time. अतः पढ़ यारा नाहि समुच्चय लाख कोटि अध्यापक नाहि कर निश्चय. Therefore, no one could count the innumerable students and millions of teachers gathered. Due to the facility for studying various scriptures, there were innumerable teachers and students in Navadvip. The word samuchaya means collection or assembly. In millions of teachers, it is mentioned in the shloka. And one can say Navadvip is not that big of a place. It's a small place, millions of teachers, and then students, and obviously the families. But Krishna can make anything possible. रमा दृष्टि पाते सब लोक सुख वासे व्यर्थ काल याए मात्र व्यवहारे रसे. By the merciful glance of Rama, the goddess of fortune, everyone lived happily there, but they wasted their time in mundane activities. Although by the mercy of Lakshmi Devi, Navadvip was full of appearances and the abode of happiness. People who were maddened by material happiness were simply interested to increase the material knowledge in order to gratify their senses. Thus, they uselessly spent their time in ordinary worldly dealings. In his book, Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita, Sridhandi Swami, Sri Prabodhanand Saraswati Pad has described the mentality of the materialists and tapasvis who at the time of Sriman Mahaprabhu were proud of their mundane, godless knowledge. But this was the problem. It was all mundane, godless knowledge. They were studying Vedanta and everything, and maybe studying different aspects of every shloka and every word, and then they were proud of their learning. But what's the use? What's the use of all if it doesn't develop bhakti? Krishna Rama Bhakti Shunya Sakala Sansar Pratham Kalite Haile Bhavishya Achar. The whole universe was devoid of devotion to Krishna and Balaram, and future symptoms of the age of Kali became manifest in the beginning of the age. At that time, various types of misbehavior in the form of aversion to the Lord, which was expected to appear at the end of Kali Yuga, began to manifest throughout the universe. Aversion of the Lord, which was expected to appear at the end of Kali Yuga, that's a Kalki Avatar, began to manifest throughout the universe. People forgot that serving Balram and Krishna was their occupational duty. So this is Kali Yuga. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this Kali Yuga about 500 some years ago. But he doesn't come in every Kali Yuga. So just imagine what would happen in the other Kali Yugas. The time right now we think it is bad. Other Kali Yugas, uh, time really goes bad. धर्म कर्म लोक सब यही मात्र जान मंगला चंडी गीते करे जागरण. People's religion consisted of tutor activities, and they would stay awake through the night chanting prayers to Mangala Chandi, or goddess Durga. Material knowledge was so predominant at that time that people mistook speculation devoid of devotional service to Hari as scholarship. Ordinary people believed that the supreme goal of following religious principles was to increase their material happiness and prosperity by hearing and chanting songs about Mangala Chandi. They actually mistook unnatural, non-devotional endeavors for religion and thus increased the covering of desire for sense gratification, fruitive work, and speculative knowledge. So they actually mistook unnatural, non-devotional endeavors for religion, which is okay, getting more knowledge and worshipping Manga Chandi, Durga, and trying to get more benedictions for material prosperity. And this they thought this was devotional service, this is bhakti. They did not consider that worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord's devotees were the living entities' only goal. They just didn't know. And even today, I mean, people in India argue, what do you guys do? I mean, whole day you're just chanting Hare Krishna. I mean, you should do this, do that worship, do this, Devi Devta ki worship karo, puja karo. They don't understand the difference between puja and bhakti. Huge difference. And Krishna, what he does is to bewilder them more. Any demigod, Devi Devta one worships, one can get material benedictions. But when we do bhakti of Krishna, he doesn't give what we want, he gives what we need. And whenever he wants to give, that's up to him. So this is also the reason many people don't want to come into bhakti process. Oh, there is no material benefits. But we don't do bhakti for material benefits. We do bhakti to please Krishna, to please Radha, to serve them. That's it. But it's very difficult to convince people for this. Dambakari Vishahari Puja Konal Jana Putali Karai Ke Diya Bahudhan. Some people proudly worship Vishahari, the goddess of snakes, and others spend great wealth on idol worship. Ordinary people, particularly the rich mercantile community, lavishly spent money for the worship of Manasa Devi, another name of Vishnu. They purchased the entire Brahman and Pandit communities and kept them under their control. They had various idols and deities of demigods and goddesses made, and they donated large sums of money in charity. Even today, the practice of making various kinds of idols is current at the time of Rasa Yatra. Instead of serving the deity of the Supreme Lord on the spiritual platform, they followed the system of idol worship and spent huge amounts of money on festivals. I mean, even today in Kolkata, this Durga Puja stalls and all the festivities that goes on during that time. It's amazing. And if you go to Maharashtra, then Ganpati Puja time up. But do we get the same response when we want to worship Krishna? No. Oh, Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra is there, but that kind of response is missing. They all want to worship Durga ji, Ganesh ji. Later they immersed those idols in water and proved the flickering nature of their worship and their object of worship because they spent large amounts of money on useless purposes. The worship of deities such as Sri Jagannath Dev was rarely found in Bengal. Another reading of the second line is Putli Vibhadite Deya Bahudhan, which indicates that people who were maddened with material enjoyment uselessly and proudly spent money in marriage ceremonies between male and female, and not just male and female boys and girls, male and female monkeys, cats, and dolls. In this way, they increase their aversion to the norm. Making dolls also married. Celebrating marriage of dolls, cats, monkeys. धन नष्ट करे पुत्र कन्या हृदय भाई यही मत जग तेरा व्यर्थ काल है जाए. People squandered money on the marriages of their sons and daughters. In this way, they wasted their human lives. Some people considered family life as the goal of life, and thus they spent large sums on the marriages of their sons and daughters. In this way, they increased the happiness of those who were averse to Lord Hari. They concluded that getting their daughters and sons married is far better than worshipping the Supreme Lord, and in this way, they simply wasted their time in mundane affairs. And in this marriage of sons and daughters, recently there was a video on Facebook. This family in Punjab, when the daughter-in-law, the son got married, daughter-in-law came to the home. They they just showered her with money. I mean, they threw money on her. And how much money? 8.5 crore rupees of rupees. 8.5 crore. They just showered on the bride. I don't know how much they spent on the whole marriage and how much these guys are worth. I don't know. But 8.5 crore just on that. Hard to imagine. And we all have seen the marriage of Anand Ambani. Went on and on and on and on, and thousands of crores of rupees were spent. एव भट्टाचार्य चक्रवर्ती मिश्र साहब ताहार न जाने सब ग्रंथ अनुभव. Even the so-called scholars, the Bhattacharya, Chakravartis, and Mishras, did not know the real purport of the scripture. The words Granth Anubhav means summary or purport. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Him. Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know Him. The religion dharma is rendering loving service unto Him. He is the supreme goal of life. In his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Sri Madhvacharya quotes the following verses. In the Vedic literature, including Ramayana, Puranas, Mahabharata, from the very beginning, Ado, to the end, Antecha, as well as within the middle, Madhyacha, only Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is explained. And all Vedic knowledge is searching after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Now, problem with the scholars is they want to have a different opinion from everybody else. Otherwise, they're not considered scholars. So they try to squeeze out different meanings from different all the words of Vedic scriptures. Then say, yes, see, I'm better scholar. But the real meaning is Krishna. And this is what Nimai Pandit, when he came back from Gaya, he was he was his teacher of grammar, and so many students would wanted to learn from him. But when he came back from Gaya, after meeting Ishwar Puri over there and basically taking initiation, he would explain every word, every term in scriptures with Krishna as a meaning. He would take the root of the word and then he would explain it all. Everything is Krishna, and this was really bothering the students. How is it possible? What are you talking about, Nimai? But actually, it is. The root of everything is Krishna. Every name that we take, actually, the root is Krishna. But one has to have devotion to understand this. And then one can see Krishna everywhere. In every word, he can see Krishna. So the Vaishnava Puranas are factual evidence, being the same as the Pancharatra. All the original Smritis are also evidence, being supported. In all of these works, only the supremacy of Vishnu is proclaimed, nothing else. This alone is a final analysis. Other scriptures have been written on the order of Lord Hari for the purpose of bewildering the demons. The statements of these scriptures should not be accepted as meant for the asuras and lead one to the darkness of ignorance. The other scriptures have been written on the order of Lord Hari for the purpose of bewildering the demons. Like in Puranas also, there are six Puranas for people in mode of ignorance, six for people in mode of passion, six for people in mode of goodness. So those in the mode of ignorance, the point is, even if those people in that mode, they read those scriptures, they can gradually make progress. But those are not the ultimate. And ultimate Puran is Srimad Bhagavatam. That is considered the ultimate Puran. But to come to that level takes a long time. And that's also the beauty of Vedic scriptures. It provides way for everybody to make progress if they really follow, to whatever extent. Slowly, 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 they can make progress. It's not like you do this, otherwise we will cut off your head. That's it. No, everybody is at a different level. So they have to make progress. And Krishna is very merciful considering everybody's level. So, okay, you follow this, slowly, 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 you'll make progress. The problem is when we start fighting based on those. That's where the problem. We're thinking, oh no, my scripture is the best, it's the truth, everybody else is false. In his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Srimadhvacharya quotes from the Naradiya Puranas. This is proclaimed that the Vaishnav scriptures consist of the Pancharatra, Mahabharata, original Ramayana, the Puranas, and the Bhagavad. The Puranas glorify Lord Shiva should be adjusted so their statements do not conflict with the Vaishnav literature. Those who dishonor the Vedas by taking shelter of philosophies like Gautam's Nyaya, Kannad's Vaisheshika, the atheists, Kapil's Sankhya, Patanjali's Yoga, and that found in Shaivite Puranas are of low intelligence. So, so, but the problem happens when the fights start between Vaishnavas and other people of other tradition. The Bhattacharyas, who were expert in teaching, the Chakravartis, who were expert in fruitive rituals, and the Mishras, who were learned scholars, were simply engaged in scriptural debate. Therefore, they were unable to understand the purport of the Shastras and the sense of the Vedas. They were simply engaged in the path of useless fruitive activities and mental speculation. They could not understand that the only purpose of all activities of the living entities and the only goal of all scriptures is devotional service for the pleasure of Lord Hari. That's the only purpose, and that's the only goal. The Adi, Madhya, Anta, everything is Krishna, but it doesn't come so easily. शास्त्र पढ़िय सब यही कर्म करे श्रोतार सहित यम पाशे डूबी मारे. And even after teaching the scriptures, the teachers are still engaged in such activities. As a result, both the teachers and the students were punished by Yamaraj. The teachers, by teaching, and the students, by learning, both became entangled in the laws of karma. And due to these temporary endeavors, they ultimately became punishable by Yamaraj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Yamaraj, the sixth canto, Yamaraj spoke the following words to his servants in connection with Ajamil. Paramhansas are exalted persons who have no taste for material enjoyment and who drink the honey of the Lord's lotus feet. My dear servants, bring to me for punishment only persons who are averse to the taste of that honey, who do not associate with Paramhansas, and who are attached to family life and worldly enjoyment, which form the path to heaven. My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform these duties or who do not perform their duties towards Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. So this was what happened when Yamadutas went back to Yamraj after they were threatened by Vishnu Dutas. They had gone to take Ajamil. Vishnu Dutas stopped them. They said, Ajamil, he's a very exalted soul. You cannot take him. And Yamadutas, they were like, exalted soul? He's such a low born, he's such a devil and sinner. Look at all the sin. No, Vishnu Duta said, no. He has chanted the name of Hari, and you cannot take him. So Yamdutas, they went back and they complained to Yamaraj, "Hey, we are your representatives, and so far never it happened that that we came back without bringing that sinful soul with us." So Yamaraji understood what happened. And they told them, four divine looking personalities came and they stopped us. Then Yamaraji understood they were Vishnu Dutas. Then he told them, do not bring me those um, who, who- or those who chant the holy names of the Lord, the qualities of Krishna. Don't bring me those. They are simple people. So at least now we have one assurance: we will not see Yamraj or Yamdutas. At least by performing bhakti, that is for sure. And also just to then Lord Jagannath is considered he is the Lord for 50 years of Brahmaji. First 50 years for Lord Nilamada, second 50 years Lord Jagannath, especially for Kali Yuga. So he had promised that anybody comes take my darshan in my temple at Puri, he gets relieved of all sinful reactions. Then Yamraji went to him, what is this? You are shutting down my department. I cannot perform because they all come, take your darshan. no more sins, and that's it. Then, as he went to Jagannath temple, so he asked Yamaraji, okay, you install this black plate on the Singhdwar at one of the steps, third step. So anybody who, when he coming to take darshan, crosses over that plate, takes my darshan, all the sins are gone. But when he goes back and he crosses over that plate, then he gets all the sins back. Then Yamaraji was okay. Okay, now I have my department, my service is even. So, but there's space on the side also. We can go from the side, or we can go from other dwars, right? North, south, west. Those dwars are there. There is no plate. Um, but it's amazing how Yamaraja's service has to be kept, and Jagannath's mercy has to be kept also. But anyway, man, Lord Jagannath is again so merciful. He comes on the chariot. Then there is no Yamaraj restriction. Anybody can take darshan of him on the chariot. Pull his chariot, get his mercy. See, his mercy is unlimited. He's just full of mercy. That's all. Even if those who go to hell as punishment given by Yamaraj, now time is different. That's like our 1 second of Brahmaji is considered like 1,000 years over here, something we can say. So similarly, 1 second here is 100 years in hellish planet. So if somebody is suffering for 100 years in hell, it's like consider 1 second or maybe 1 hour, whatever the calculation. So even that is mercy. Somebody has committed so many sins that he has to go through suffering in hell. But okay, over there maybe 100 years, but on earthly planet it could be 1 hour or one day. That's also mercy itself. But people still don't want to understand, don't want to take up the service. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this bhakti with such an easy process. Chanting of the holy names. That's okay. I guess I can stop it. See anybody has any questions or comments.
जय जगन्नाथ प्रभु जी मैं तो पहुंच गई पूरी में सर थैंक यू प्रभु जी थैंक यू सो मच हरे कृष्णा
so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
जय
Krishna.
श्रीला प्रभुपाद
Hare